are listening to The Common Sense Practical Prepper, sponsored by Duct Tape, the real duct tape. It fixes everything, except bad decisions. Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. America. From border to border, coast to coast, and all ships at sea, here is your host, Keith.
Everybody, this is Keith, and welcome back to the Common Sense Practical Prepper podcast for June the 19th, 2026. And continuing our series, Building Your Ark, this is going to be episode 3. Episode 1, we spoke about water. Episode 2, we spoke about security. And today we're talking about food. 3 ways to feed your family for 1 week. So like in the other 2 episodes, we're going to keep this very simple. As you know, no 2 SHTF situations are alike. So what we're looking at here is a 1-week supply of food for a family of 4 when things go pear-shaped. So if you have a larger family or a smaller family, you can take this recipe, pun intended, and scale it as needed. Because there are so many different variables when it comes to SHTF situations. So with this, no complicated meal plans, no expensive long-term food storage, just a straightforward with realistic options that a family can actually put together. So why 1 week? I mentioned this when we did the first 2. So for 1 week, so this is my reasoning. A 1-week supply is very achievable for most families. It's not overwhelming. It doesn't cost a huge financial investment. And it's something you can realistically put together in just 1 or 2 shopping trips. More importantly, 1 week is long enough to get you through most short-term SHTF emergencies. Major storm, power outage, minor supply chain hiccup, or minor civil unrest. The other advantage of this is that it is easy to build upon. Once you have 1 solid week taken care of, you simply repeat the process. Now you've got it 2 weeks. Later on down the road, if you have the discretionary income, 2 weeks becomes a month becomes 2 months. You get the idea. It becomes much easier to grow your food storage, your pantry, when you start with a simple, manageable goal. So first, we're going to go over the no-cook method. And the prices in the food that I am going to provide, the prices are very relative, depending on where you live in the U.S., depending on where you live in the world. I will probably mention a few things in here that you may not have readily available in your particular city or country. Feel free to substitute at will. I'm going to talk about Spam. If you hate Spam or you've never heard of Spam or Spam is illegal in your country, which it probably should be, then you substitute something else for Spam. So again, the no-cook method. Approximate cost between $150 and $180 USD. No power needed, no heat required. Everything can be eaten straight from the can or from the package. We'll talk about proteins. For the family of 4, for the 7 days, 10 to 12 cans of tuna or chicken, approximately $1.75 each. 4 cans of Spam, approximately $2.75 each. 10 cans of beans, whatever beans you like, about $140, $150. 6 to 8 cans of chili or stew, approximately $3 each. 3 large jars of peanut butter, between $4.50 and $5 each. When we come to carbs and snacks, 6 to 8 boxes of crackers, about $3.50 per box. 4 boxes of granola bars, about $4.50 per box. 2 boxes of cereal, about $4 per box. Fruits and veggies, 10 cans of fruit, got pineapple, peaches, what have you, about $1.75 per can. 8 to 10 cans of vegetables, green beans, corn, peas, beets, potatoes, whatever you like, approximately $1.50 each. The miscellaneous items, powdered milk, beef jerky, nuts, trail mix, juice boxes, fruit roll-ups, between $20 and $30 for those. The essential item, a good manual can opener. So this would be a sample daily meal. Breakfast, peanut butter on crackers, granola bar, maybe some dried fruit. Lunch, canned chicken, canned tuna, mixed with canned beans or corn, eaten with crackers. Dinner, canned chili, stew, or some sort of soup, eaten at room temperature. Snacks, jerky, nuts, maybe some fruit cups that you've picked up, or granola bars. Now that's the no-cook method. Second, the camp stove method. Approximate price for pretty much the same items, $110 to $150 USD. This version uses the same types of no-cook foods, but we're adding a camp stove so you can heat water and cook simple meals. Hot food stretches your supplies and also improves morale quite a bit. Same thing, 8 to 10 cans of tuna or chicken, 4 cans of Spam. We can go with the canned chili, or the canned beans, 3 or 4 large jars of peanut butter. Now here's where the cooking method comes in very handy for budget as well as flexibility. 4 to 6 pounds of dried beans. So 4 1-pound bags, mix and match. $1.80 per pound. So buying beans in bulk bags is significantly less expensive than buying them in the can. Carbs and starches. We got the crackers, granola bars, cereal. Now, bagged rice, about 60 cents per pound. Having the camp stove and the ability to boil water gives you more flexibility, and you can mix up and expand your recipes and your menu options. Back to the fruit, 8 to 10 cans of fruit. And then you can also do the canned vegetables. If you want to cook the canned vegetables, it's easier to heat them up, or you also have your beans and you also have your rice. So you have a lot of flexibility. Powdered milk, jerky, nuts, trail mix, juice boxes, the same thing as before. Salt and pepper, hot sauce packets, sample meals. Rice and beans with canned vegetables, tuna rice bowls, Spam over rice, chili over rice. If you happen to have some oatmeal, instant oatmeal or oatmeal in a box that you can boil, warm peanut butter oatmeal. It's really good, trust me. Now, the third, and I guess the most easiest method, the ReadyWise or Augustin Farms bucket method, the big 5-gallon bucket full of freeze-dried food. Approximate cost for one of these buckets, and there are millions of them out there, $80 to $130 depending on a sale. Sometimes you can see these as low as $60 to $70. Normal price, you're talking about $130 or $140. So please shop around. There are sales all the time. This is the most simple, most compact option. Everything you need comes in this one plastic bucket. The key points about the bucket meal. Most one-week family buckets focus mainly on lunch and dinner type meals. Very few, although there are some out there, have breakfast options. Now, if you want to buy a breakfast bucket and pair that with your lunch dinner bucket, you're increasing the price, but there is more variety. But again, we're looking at a very simple 1-week meal plan that's relatively inexpensive. You'll need to boil the water because these are freeze-dried. You need to be careful of the portions because once you cook a meal, you can't save the leftovers without refrigeration. And the taste of these overall, on average, is good. It's not great. It's not fantastic. It doesn't suck, but for what it is and the convenience part that you get out of it, the flavor is good. Another main advantage, one bucket takes up very little space and it has a 25-year shelf life. It's the ultimate grab and go. Slight sidebar, if you have to bug out quickly, you just grab the bucket and you're gone. So here's another pro tip that I use here at home. I keep at least 2 loaves of bread in my freezer and I rotate them regularly. Now, Just regular non-SHTF situations, I'll go to the store, I'll buy 4 loaves of bread, I'll stick 3 in the freezer, 1 in the fridge, and when the one in the fridge is almost done, I'll pull one out of the freezer. So in a sense, I always have fresh bread. Because if I was to take all 4 loaves and lay them on the counter, or all 4 loaves in the fridge, I would not be able to go through those before they would start to go bad. And a good thing about the bread is that it's a great substitute for crackers. So in the event the power goes out, you have the bread in the fridge. And if you need to open the fridge, especially with a power out, open it as little as possible, get the bread out, and then you use it. Give or take, depending on the part of the country you live in or the part of the world and the outside temperature, if you don't open your fridge, the fridge section, maybe 12 to 18 hours, it might keep the food cool enough. Once you get above 40 degrees Fahrenheit, that's when you get into the danger zone and you need to be very careful. Freezer, it's going to last a little longer. But again, if you need to get into the freezer to get that bread out, go ahead and just pull it out because you're going to go through it with that family of 4 for the week. And peanut butter sandwiches taste a lot better, in my opinion, than just peanut butter on crackers. So there you have it. 3 simple, realistic methods to feed your family of 4 for 1 week. No cook, camp stove, or the survival food in a bucket. 3 options. One option may sound a lot more appealing than the other, so you definitely have choices. When it comes to situations like this, don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Don't look for that perfect meal when it may not even exist. Do what you need to do, use what you have, and just do the best with it. So start with whatever method feels the easiest for your situation and your budget. Once you have the first week covered, then you can always go to 2, then a month. Like I said before, it's very easy to expand. So having 1 week of food stored gives you a huge advantage if things go sideways. You're far better off than most people are who have nothing prepared, only the food in their fridge and their freezer and what they might have in their pantries. I've talked about this before. Most people don't have a week's worth of food for the family of 4 in their fridge and in their pantries. So we've covered water, we've covered security, and now we've covered food. So we've covered 3 of the 4 tenets of our ark. Next, we will cover power or electricity. All right, folks, thank you so much for stopping by. If you need to reach out, practicalpreppodcast@gmail.com. I'm on the Twitters, prep_podcast. All right, folks, as always, please be careful out there. Take care of one another, and until next time.
You've been listening to The Common Sense Practical Prepper. Subscribe, like, drop a review. Over and out.